Now that we've learned about the fundamentals of containers and Docker, as well as the usefulness of container registries, let's build our first container image and store it in a registry. We'll put everything that we've learned so far into practice. This Docker file provides the steps for building an image that will run a Node.js application. Assuming we have written this application and the files exist, we can use the Docker file to create an image. The commands are the same as we've seen before. A node base image is used. The artifacts are copied to our image. The node dependencies are installed along with some updates, and the node command is used to execute the application in a container. The docker build command uses the Docker file to create an image. Here's what the command looks like. The T indicates the tag option. This specifies the name that we want to give to our image. Remember, the name consists of the host name, which can be omitted if we're pushing to Docker Hub, the repository, and the tag. In this case, we'll push to Docker Hub, so we don't have a host name. The repository name will be my app, and the tag is our version, v1. Last, you see a period at the end of this command. This isn't a typo. A period is shorthand for the current directory. The last argument for this command is what's known as the build context. This is the set of files located at this path or URL that will be used for generating your image. The Docker file is normally located here. In our example, we use the current working directory as the build context, which is why we pass the period as an argument. Note that you could also write out a full path to the build context. Here is a look at the output of this command. First, the build context is sent to the Docker daemon. Then the Docker instructions are executed in order. You can see that each step in this output corresponds to one of the instructions from our Docker file. At the end, the image is successfully built, and it is tagged as we stipulated. To verify, we can use the Docker images command. Here's a look at that output. You can see that our image is right here in the output. The repository is my app, as we expect, and the tag is our version. You can also see when the image was created and its size. What if we want to use this image in another context? We can tag it and use it again. Let's use the Docker tag command to accomplish this. This command will create a new tag for this image. The Docker tag command first takes the image that you want to tag, in this case, my app v1, and it takes the new tag that you want to apply, second app v1. If we run this command, we will end up with a second tag in our Docker images output. Let's take a look. Now we see not only our first app, but also our second app. Notice that the image IDs are the same in both cases. This is because the image itself is unchanged. There is nothing different about these two images, and they will perform the same function. The only difference is that they are tagged in two different ways. Now that we have an image, let's run it as a container. We simply need to use the Docker run command along with our image tag. You can also see the output here. This is a Hello World application, so it prints a simple message before exiting. Finally, let's push the image to a registry so that we can distribute it and store it for later use. Remember that the repository name identifies the registry that the image will be pushed to, so all we need to do is perform a Docker push command. The output here shows that each layer of our image was pushed successfully. If we went to Docker Hub, we could then view our image. Congratulations! You now know how to write a Docker file, build an image, run that image as a container, and push that image to a registry. You should now better understand how to apply all that we've learned so far about containers, Docker, and registries in a practical setting. Specifically, you should understand how to create a simple Docker file and build an image from it. You should also understand how to tag an existing image and push it to a registry. Finally, you should understand how to use Docker to run an image locally. Congratulations on finishing this module. You're now familiar with containers, containerization, and a variety of tools that assist with these technologies. In the lab for this module, you'll have the opportunity to use all of these tools and get hands-on experience with everything you've learned.